An American dad is behind bars in Japan tonight, charged with abducting his own children. Christopher Savoy went to Japan after his Japanese ex-wife defied American courts and took their kids home with her. Well, yesterday he took the law into his own hands and snatched the kids on their way to school, making a break for the U.S. consulate. But Japanese police were waiting. They took him into custody, and now he could be facing up to 5 years in jail. CNN's Betty Nguyen has more on what led him to this point.
According to the laws in the state of Tennessee where he lives, Christopher Savoy should be spending his days playing baseball with his kids, 8-year-old Isaac and 6-year-old Rebecca.
And next week I won't be playing ball with him. I won't be playing catch with him. Just won't. That week will never happen again.
His kids won't be here because Savoy's Japanese ex-wife, Noriko, in violation of a court order, abducted them. Savoy says he only found out the children were gone when they didn't show up for school.
And I got very concerned, and I kept calling. The schools kept calling. Nobody could get through to her.
Finally, he called his father-in-law in Japan, who told him not to worry.
So what do you mean, don't worry? They weren't at school. Oh, don't worry, they're here. I said, they're what? They're what? They're in Japan?
Christopher Savoy had feared this might happen. He had applied for a restraining order after his wife emailed him that she was on the edge of a cliff, saying, quote, "I'm having more difficulty staying here. It's very hard to watch kids becoming American and losing their Japanese identity." Japan does not recognize U.S. law in child custody cases. In fact, the U.S. State Department says they know of no case in which Japanese courts have ordered a child once taken to Japan to be returned to a parent in the United States.
So does Christopher Savoy have any hope of getting his children back? And joining me right now, a man who has fought his own custody battle in Japan, a Navy commander, Paul Toland, is with us. His daughter was taken by his mother 7 years ago, I guess by her mother, and has been living in Japan ever since. And also back with us right now, CNN senior legal analyst Jeff Toobin to talk about this. And Jeff, let's talk about Savoy's case first. It looks like not only will he not get his kids back, but he could face serious time for kidnapping them.
It's really a heartbreaking story. There is a convention of many countries about child custody issues that they agree to honor each other's rules. Japan is not a party to that agreement. Japan operates by its own rules, and they feel they are under no obligation to return these children to Mr. Savoy, even though he has a valid United States court order. And so I think he's just out of luck. And now I anticipate that the criminal case against him, the embassy will step in and help him out and probably get him out of jail promptly. But as for getting his kids back, I think he has very little chance.
And family law in Japan operates very differently than American law. So as I was reading, even when a Japanese couple divorces, usually one person gets sole custody and the other sort of falls off the planet, right?
You know, I learned this in reporting this story. I had no idea, but that's true. It's the idea of joint custody, which is true in all 50 states here,
right,
essentially doesn't exist in Japan, that one parent becomes the custodial parent and the other parent has almost no contact with the child. It's heartbreaking by our standards, but that's apparently routine, which is one reason why Mr. Savoy is in so much out of luck, is because he's the out parent in this case.
Paul, you're facing a very similar legal nightmare here. You're a Navy commander. You haven't seen your little girl Erica in what, 6 years, I think, after your former wife moved out or moved with her back in 2003. So explain what happened with you a little bit and how painful, God, that process must have been.
Well, I thank you, Campbell, for having me on, and I want to say that, you know, the cases in Japan, including my case, are particularly difficult because it's a true human rights tragedy that's gone unnoticed. There are more than 130 children like Erica. Erica was taken 6 years ago, and I have been able to establish no contact with her. Japanese authorities are not helpful. Japanese court is unhelpful. And there's really no remedies in existence. And even 2 years ago, after my wife died, I still, as the sole surviving parent of Erica, still have absolutely no contact and no means of seeing her.
Stop there, Paul, because this is what is mind-blowing to me, and I want people to fully appreciate this. Is your wife passed away, the courts then gave custody to your mother-in-law. And you've had no way of intervening. I mean, did they explain the decision? I mean, you would assume at that point that you would at least have some contact.
They've had no contact. I've asked the State Department to help, and the State Department did make one visit to my daughter, and they told me that the family, the grandmother, did want to contact me. But when I tried to contact her, I was told just the opposite. I think they were just telling the State Department what they thought the State Department wanted to hear to get rid of them. So there's been no hope. When somebody's child is taken to Japan, you realize that it's absolute hopelessness. I continue to hold out hope in the face of hopelessness. There's no child has ever been returned from Japan, and I think in this case that just happened, Christopher realized this once he started looking into it, and realized that if he didn't do something, he would never see his children again. And I hope, and I continue to hold out hope to see Erica again one day, my daughter. But I do understand the uphill battle in a country like Japan that has really no respect for international law, for the laws of other countries when it comes to parental rights.
This is so depressing. Is there any hope?
Well,
is there anything the State Department can do?
Well, this has to be a diplomatic effort. It has to be, because, after all, Japan is a very close ally of the United States. Our governments are in constant contact. You would hope that the State Department could work through the Japanese government. I suppose the only thing you can do is wait until the child is old enough, until she can reach out to contact her father. But that's missing a child's entire childhood.
Well, Paul, I certainly hope that you don't have to wait that long. Best of luck to you, Jeff Toobin. As always, appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you.